Alright, googly moogly. It's been a hot minute since I last played this game. We last left off. We're going to trial, apparently? Judge is not in his seat. I suppose we should reconvene the trial of Solomon Starbuck or something? Oh, last time we were in court, the bomb went off. Your Honor, could you please come out from under your bench? There are no more bombs, I promise. You can't make that promise. Given the lax nature of the bailiffs and the security in this courtroom, I don't think you can make that promise, Nick. Oh yes, my apologies. I'm still a little jumpy when it comes to trials involving bombs. I mean, first the courtroom exploded. Oh. And then Mr. Tornade self-destructed. Well, I mean, like, he didn't actually he, like, didn't die or anything. Like, it's pretty good considering what would happen if you did actually explode. But, like, I guess that's one way of describing what happened to Tornade. Anyway, it seems that Mr. Justice was seriously wounded by Mr. Tornade's actions. So you, Mr. Wright, will be taking up the defense? I mean, that's why I'm standing here, right? Do you have an understanding of what has happened in the trial so far? Yes, Your Honor. The defense is ready. Yeah, definitely. Very well. Is the prosecution also worried? I just realized Taka's scarf is like the prison garb, like the black and white stripes. Bruh. I take it you'd like me to give the opening statement this time?
Looks like the judge has become a pretty good mind reader.
Well, he's certainly seen more than his fair share of colorful prosecutors. That's all he's seen. You could say he's something of a veteran of sorts. I mean, the last prosecutor he's had that wasn't like quote-unquote colorful was Winston from the first game when he wore a gray suit. I guess Blackwell is not really colorful. I know I'm taking it very literally in terms of like actual color palettes, but like, you know. Let's see. In the previous part of this trial, we learned that the victim, Clay Turan, escaped from Launchpad 1 carrying the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. There were explosions on the second floor of the Space Center and on the rocket itself. The two astronauts used Launchpad 1 corridor to reach the boarding lounge. How could the victim climb down the ladder if he was carrying the defendant? That was the mystery that needed to be solved. Mr. Justice proved that the victim was killed in the boarding lounge. Prosecutor Blackwell, were you able to discover any new facts related to this point? Oh, the oxygen tank thing probably? Upon further investigation, we discovered an oxygen tank fragment in the lounge. Surprisingly, it would appear that Justice Dono's argument was correct.
So that means the testimony of the first two people in the scene are suspect.
There were two people who claimed to be the first on the scene. But can we truly trust their statements?
Let's see. The two people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? You think that one of them might have given a false statement to the police?
Yes, it's certainly possible. We might have to do a little more digging. And you ain't doing shit. You heard, just as our team was about to cross-examine Detective Arm, the courtroom bombing incident occurred, and the trial was put on hold. That accursed fellow! He killed my witness! He killed Detective Arm! Yeah, be mad.
He definitely put the kibosh on anyone asking her about what she saw.
Exactly. In other words, the question of who killed the victim in the boarding lounge has once again become the main focus of this trial. It's obvious Prosecutor Blackwell still thinks it was Mr. Starbuck. Fulbright said that Blackwell has a thing against the astronaut. Oh, right. Nevertheless, the defense argues there was a third person in the lounge, and that's who killed the victim. To make such reckless claims, the courtroom takes a bold man, or a stupid one. Porque no los dos. There was no third person in the boarding lounge. Or have you gotten dotty array? Old man. What do you mean? You are 28, and he is not here on the profile because we're playing as him. I think he's like 32 or something, right? I guess he's old. I'm older than him. We'll see who's a dotard after I trounce you with my years of experience, little boy. In any case, Mr. Starbuck claims he saw someone leaving the lounge. Furthermore, a Space Center employee also saw a suspicious figure at the scene. They saw a third person. I see my sister has been running her mouth. That's right. I almost forgot that Aura is Prosecutor Blackwell's sister. I didn't forget. That was the first thing I said or something. Or the second thing I said, at least. Maybe the third? No matter. She didn't see this mystery person's face clearly. Therefore, there is no evidence to indicate that this person was not the defendant. I guess the possibility that the figure was Mr. Starbuck is still there. In brief, we need to determine if a third person was there or not. To this end, We should hear the testimony of one of the first people on the scene.
Director Cosmos, huh?
Very well. Bailiff, please bring the witness to the stand. Fuck.
Did he always have that?
Why? I believe I've seen you before in the newspapers.
I literally don't remember him having the badge. I think that every time I saw him, I only focused on the little Super Mario star.
Of course you have! Of course you have! For I am Yuri Cosmos, director of the Cosmos Space Center, which was of course named after me, Yuri Cosmos. Don't you have anything you wish to ask me?
Looks like he's all geared up to do some bragging.
7 years ago, I successfully launched the Hat 1 and... Everyone already knows how brilliant you are. Even I am trying to hold back my tears at seeing such a great man standing before me. So could you please proceed directly to your important testimony? Ha ha ha! I see this fine young lad as a proper appreciation of greatness. Then allow me to begin my whatever testimony that will be recorded in the annals of history. Annals, anal, we'll say anal, fine.
That speech of Prosecutor Blackwell's just now sounded more to me like he was poking fun at Director Cosmos.
It's probably for the best that it sailed right over the director's head. Now then, Director Cosmos, the condensed version of your illustrious testimony, please. What I saw at the scene. Detective Arm and I rushed towards the boarding lounge together. We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside. We saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge, and Taran lying on the floor. I hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck. I see. So in your testimony, you claim you arrived at the scene after the two had escaped from the launch pad to the lounge. Just after the victim had been killed. Oh, the horror! The humanity! But what I said is what I saw, and what I saw is what I said. Courageous action to take in the face of such terrifying explosions, wouldn't you say? A man is dead, but enough about him. Save my men. I went personally into the epicenter of danger. Risking my own life for theirs! Ha 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 ha! Many died.
Well, what do you know? Sounds like the director really cares about his men.
Yeah, although it sounds more like he was scared and just had a peek from far away. Is the defense ready to cross-examine the witness? Yes, Your Honor. Director Cosmos' testimony is pretty vague. I'm going to have to press him and draw out more information before I do anything else. Y'all rush towards the lounge together. Where were you coming from? The 6th floor. We're making sure any stragglers made their way to the 4th floor. It was then we heard about Starbuck and Taran and hurried to the 3rd floor lounge. Oh, wait, on my galactical scooter here, of course. You know, every time the text box shows up, it makes his galactic, like, his scooter, the top of it, it looks like it's like a thing to suck on for, like, if you have asthma or something. Or if it's like a water bottle. In case making me think that it's just his water bottle, but it's not his water bottle because people don't drink water in this game because they're fake. Why do you keep calling it galactic? Does it have something to do with space? Of course! It's specifically designed to be used on galactic battleships. I see. Then I take it works in 0G too? What would you need a scooter for in 0G? You don't even need to walk. Sadly, no. With the current state of technology as it is, I'm afraid it would just float about and be galactically useless. Well, that's a galactic bummer. I see. So you rushed to the boarding lounge on your space-age pogo stick. When you got to the scene, what did you see? We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside. Mata! Let's see. According to this diagram, I'm so sick of seeing this damn diagram. This showed up so much in the last session that we did. Fucking Athena being like, "Where's the pamphlet? Where's the pamphlet? Pamphlet!" You didn't have to go through the control room to get to boarding lounge 1. It looks like you could just have gone there from the southern corridor as well. Yes, but in her haste, Detective Arm rushed ahead of me towards the control room. All I could do was merely follow behind her. She was faster than you? When you were on a scooter? Why'd your scooter suck? I see. So we peeked into the boarding lounge from the control room door. Saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge, Taran lying on the floor. So you couldn't see who that figure was clearly or what they were doing? Sadly, the only thing I could tell was that it was a person, standing motionless. The defendant, no doubt, staring aghast at this deed. What other explanation is there? The thing is, say if it was Starbuck and you saw a silhouette of a man, will you do the fandango? You know? If it was Starbuck, you would see that he'd be a really bulky man because of his spacesuit, right? Like, couldn't you make that a note in what you saw? Like, oh, he was very, like, rounded and bulky, presumably because he was wearing a spacesuit. I feel like that would be, like, a reasonable thing to say. Arg, I'm so close. But without evidence, I can't prove that the person's the third party. I don't relish in this. And I'm much more of a mustard guy. I hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck. Aurora Blackwell also saw a suspicious figure in the lounge, but she gave a statement that it was too dark to see the person's face clearly. Did you see this figure's face clearly? No, not clearly. The lighter they were holding illuminated the area around their feet at the time. But other than that, I could see little else. Yeah, a person who's gonna light a lighter is standing and showing off their fucking feet. That make sense, Cosmos. That's why I could see Taran, but I couldn't see who the other person was. So for all you know, it might not have been Mr. Starbuck. Isn't that correct? I would like to believe that. Starbuck isn't the type of man who's capable of murder. When the witness entered the boarding lounge, there was no third person there. Isn't that correct? Great Space Center Director. Every time we look at Blackwell, I cannot stop staring at the fact that Taka has a prison-themed scarf on him, and I did not notice it until now. I can't stop staring at it. I'm so fucking stupid. Yes, that's right. Only Starbuck and Taran were there by that time. After we peeked in, the lounge suddenly went dark, and the figure vanished. You mean it disappeared? That's odd. The reason the figure appeared to vanish is because it was a defendant. When the witnesses weren't looking, he fell to the floor and feigned unconsciousness. Hold on, Director Cosmos, did you ever take your eyes off the scene? Just for a brief instant, about as long as it takes for a shooting star to go by. If you took your eyes off the scene, then this third person could have escaped during that time. But what escape route could this person have used? The direction opposite the control room, the southern door to the elevators. Cat! There's no security lock on that door, so it would have been possible to escape that way. All things are possible, right, Donald? The real question is, do you have any proof? Well, if we're just talking possibilities, we could each profess whatever we'd like. An inmate who used to be a university professor and lunar researcher used to say that there is a kingdom of little green men who live under the surface of the moon. As long as they don't punish us in the name of said moon for what we've done to it. But I say, where is your proof that this quaint kingdom exists? I'm not the researcher, I don't gotta prove shit about that.
He's calling your theory a work of fiction, boss.
And he's right, I don't have any proof yet. Still, the southern door was a possible escape route. I better make a mental note of that. Director Cosmos, may I ask you a question? Yes! Why did you look away from the boarding lounge? Ha ha ha! There's actually another tale of bravery behind the answer to that! It was when Detective Arm saw the figure and raised her gun. Being a great humanitarian and protector of mankind, I tried to stop her. What? You're saying Detective Arm raised her gun as soon as she saw the figure? I imagine her instincts as a detective told her they were the killer.
You wouldn't have known he was dead.
I don't know about that. Were you able to prevent Detective Arm from firing her gun? I'm afraid I was too late. I was unable to stop her. She identified herself clearly, and then... So she stepped out? She stepped out of the door? She fired 2 warning shots at the shadowy figure. This information about Detective Arm's action sounds critically important. Please add it to your testimony. So, the lighter, which was lighting someone's feet, and also Taran, who I guess they somehow noticed that he was dead on the floor. They came out of the control room, which I guess was also dark, and then the detective thought to pull her gun out to aim at a person they could not see aside from their feet, and thought that would have been a good idea. Fired 2 warning shots at the figures, so we know that there's a bullet hole on the holographic screen, and then we found a bullet in the vent. I don't know if those meant to be 2 separate instances of shootings, but neither of those 2 shots hit the culprit? That is correct. The detective appears to have missed on purpose. But did she really? There's something about this that bothers me. Oh, did Arm maybe shoot the oxygen tank, and that's why it ruptured? Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots, did she? That's the first time that info has come out. I wonder if I can find any inconsistencies. Single bullet hole. The bullet itself is missing. Just because there's a single bullet in the hole doesn't make it a contradictory fact that she fired 2 warning shots. The second one could have just gone somewhere else that we didn't see. But I guess they're saying that it also didn't shoot the guy either, so who would they go? Are you sure you were really paying attention to what Detective Arm was doing? You doubt my word! Words that will someday be written down in history books! Somehow, I don't think that those exact words will ever be written down in any history books. Why would a witness's testimony be written down in a history book? Mr. Wright, could you please explain yourself so that we can all understand? You say that Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots. And yet, only 1 bullet hole was ever found at the scene. Only 1 bullet hole means the gun was only fired once. And yet, Director Cosmos is saying Detective Arm fired 2 shots. No editor would allow such a glaring contradiction into any history book. Do we not have her gun? Unfortunately for you, the witness's words are true. We confirm that 2 shots were fired from Detective Arm's gun. Okay, there you go. But there was only 1 bullet hole at the scene. Where did the other bullet hole vanish to? Ah! Taka, I didn't notice your scarf was prison themed. You should know the answer to that already. Yeah, I think I said it just now. I should? Maybe I just like subconsciously remember things. Like I've played this before, but it's been so long since I did. I definitely didn't remember it getting shot. Who would have guessed? During the previous trial, a certain oxygen tank was presented as evidence. We've already discussed that it was ruptured in the lounge, have we not? Well, it appears that the thing that ruptured it was a bullet. A bullet that was found near the tank, to be precise. This bullet was fired from a .38 caliber gun. The same caliber as the detective's gun. Where'd you get the bullet from? Where did that bullet come from? What? Literally, where did the bullet come from? The rifling marks also match up. There's no question that the bullet was fired from Detective Arm's gun. So we have 2 bullets in our inventory, huh? Rifling marks. They're like a gun's fingerprints on a bullet, correct? Examining the rifling marks on a bullet can tell us that the gun was fired from. One of the bullets the detective fired found its way into the holographic image display. The other bullet came to a stop near the victim's oxygen tank. If Turan was dead on the floor at that point, you shoot gun at display image and then you shoot straight to the ground at his tank? When supposedly culprit should be in the middle between... Okay. I mean, they're warning shots. I don't know why you would fucking aim to the floor. The evidence confirms the director's statement that the detective fired 2 shots. My beautiful contradiction. Gone. All gone.
So that bullet hole was from a .38 caliber, huh? I better update the record.
Very good. Now we know the fate of both of the shots Detective Arm fired. Mr. Wright, does that clear up all of your questions? Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots. One hit the holographic display, and the other hit the oxygen tank. Does that really clear up everything about what happened at the scene? Where's the bullet in the holographic display image, right? Maybe? And does it really No. Sure. Can't just give up. No, Your Honor, it doesn't. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots from a .38 caliber gun, but that doesn't explain the existence of a certain piece of evidence found at the scene. Oh, the .10 bullet? A piece that points to the existence of a 3rd person. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I still think we should probably be wondering where that bullet went, but I guess it doesn't matter. Very well, but it won't do to keep us waiting, Mr. Wright. What piece of evidence suggests that the possibility of a 3rd person at the scene?
La 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 10.
What is this metal pellet supposed to be? Can I eat it? Just a little something of great importance we found at the crime scene, Your Honor. You found it where? In a floor gutter at this crime scene. It looks like the police and prosecution both missed it. Furthermore, this is a .10 caliber bullet, making it much smaller than one of Detective Arm's .38 calibers. That means... Exactly. One more person must have been there in the lounge. A 3rd person who has a gun that could fire .10 caliber bullets. And if that's true, it explains why Detective Arm fired warning shots. Oh, because they were pointing a gun at her. This 3rd person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun. And in return, Detective fired her warning shots. It's weird. That would mean there'd be a total of 3 shots that were fired, and Director Cosmos just chose not to mention that fact? He mentioned only 2? Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? Oh, are you saying he was lying? Ha ha ha! It looks like you thought this is my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us. Why would you not say this? Why did you omit this? What's this now? Why did you omit it? He's got amazing balancing skills. What? You never breathed a word of any of this to me before. Ha ha ha! Well, all great men have a secret or 2, don't you know? Foolish old geezer. So Director Cosmos really had been hiding the presence of a 3rd person all along?
Why? Why, bitch?
Director Cosmos, I want you to testify to the court about what you really saw. You may be a great man, but in my courtroom, you're just another witness. You won't receive special treatment here. Now, please give accurate testimony. Detective Arm and I rushed to the control room together. In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and Turan on the floor. We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us.
It's the same thing as what he said before, but just like he took away like 2 lines and added another line.
Okay. Given that there was no 3rd person in the lounge when the witness entered it, does this mean that the person who fired the gun had to have been the defendant? Not necessarily. It's still possible that it was someone else. Most likely, as soon as Detective Arm and Director Cosmos discovered this person, they escaped through the southern door, the one that didn't have a security lock.
I'm outie.
Double-edged swords are a tricky lot. Mishandle one, it is you who was cut down.
Huh?
Your reasoning could apply if Space Boy were the killer as well. Think about it. After being discovered, he could have fired a .10 caliber gun. Detective Arm would have responded by firing 2 warning shots. All he had to do was feign unconsciousness in the event of possibility of a third person. But Mr. Starbuck didn't have a gun in his possession when he was found by police. That's what I was about to say. Nor has the gun been found at the crime scene. Its absence could only be explained if there was a third party who took it with them. Recall the existence of a trash chute in the boarding lounge. The defendant could have simply thrown the gun down the chute.
What? He would have had to fucking either throw it or reach over to get what?
But you can't deny the possibility of a third person leaving with the weapon. It's up to you to prove that possibility. And I trust you haven't forgotten my little piece of decisive evidence. The button? That still hasn't been added to the court record, by the way. I'm still thinking about that button. What evidence? Why? The detonator switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, naturally. The most compelling evidence of all that tells us he's the culprit. If it's so compelling, why is it not on the court record then?
I did forget all about that because it's not on a court fucking record.
I think they said they had to do something with it. They were still like examining it, but still. Look, your baldness, how deliciously obvious it is that they lack the evidence to rival mine. It's almost like I had help from the police and everyone around me in order to get the evidence, while they have their charisma and their bluffs.
Wow, he sliced our third-person theory to ribbons and served it to us, just like that.
Yes, well, I have a question of my own, actually. That bullet that the mysterious figure shot, what did it hit exactly? It hit me. So does that mean you're a ghost? I was wondering when you would realize it, your baldness. Director Cosmos is an authentic, bona fide ghost. He can even pass through the walls. Eek! Imagine a ghost needing a scooter to get around.
Prosecutor Blackwell! Shame on you for teasing the nice old gentleman!
Your boldness. It was all in jest. Please show yourself again. Are you sure? In that case, how did you manage to survive being shot, Director Cosmos? Everyone who gets shot dies immediately. Ha ha ha! I'm glad you asked! It was a miracle! A miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself! The bullet hit my glorious Medal of Honor, whereby it ricocheted, thus saving my life! Oh... What?! That's unbelievable.
I have to check this out! Oh wow, look at that! There's one extra Gaiac star!
Oh, so that star wasn't meant to be there? So it shot it and just created its own little fucking weird burst of a star, even if it's like misshapen? The odds are literally astronomical. I guess it really was a miracle. I just realized. That means they were at the south door then, not the control room, because the bullet was found in either southern room.
It's beginning to really feel like the Cosmos is watching out for Director Cosmos.
Why did you conceal this information, Director Cosmos? Because then you would have found out he didn't come from the control room! Get in the fucking ship, Shinji! A great man such as myself has to hide things on occasion, no matter how much it hurts. Can you imagine fucking posing like this on a scooter? He's got amazing balance. It is the plight of the truly great. It may be hard for this generation to understand, even though you're talking to someone who's in the same generation as you because the judge is old as fuck.
I don't know, but it sounds fishy to me. What else is he hiding?
Let's just cross-examine him and see what we can find out. I already know. I already figured it out. Present. Found south wall. We go. We win this. We got this. Director Cosmos, I believe you are telling this great court a glorious lie. A great man like me? Tell a lie? Never. Even though I lied before, but I'm definitely not lying this time. My accusation is based on the positions of the people who were in the lounge. According to your testimony, you and Detective Arm were near the control room door, and the mystery figure was standing in the middle of the boarding lounge. If, as you say, the figure fired a gun at you from this position, then the bullet would have traveled in this direction. However, we found the .10 caliber bullet here. Oh, shit. This trajectory and where the bullet was actually found contradict each other. Director Cosmos, where were you really when you were being shot at? Ah! Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the human merry-go-round. Also, imagine the big two-wheeled scooters being able to spin in a circle like that. That's impressive. That's amazing. Don't tell me you've forgotten to worry. Didn't the witness himself just tell you the bullet hit his middle? Of this, there was no mistake. But in that case, the bullet should have been found near the east side of the room. Are you trying to say that you can explain this inconsistency? Yeah, it bounced off and flew all the way over. Crazy, I know, but believe me, it did happen. Of course. I didn't think... what? Oh, great Director Cosmos. Yes! Is there something you'd like me to expound upon? You were in fact not in the control room to the east, were you? You were looking to the lounge from the door to the south. Is that not right? But what are you getting at? Use your own brain. Your head must have some use other than housing that bird's nest. You are not one to talk, Mr. fucking fluffy-haired motherfucker. Bird's nest? Why does everyone pick on my hair? Because it defies logic. Director Cosmos and the detective witnessed the scene from the southern door. The killer fired at them there, and that is why the bullet was found in the south. That makes some sense, actually. Also, the witness being at the southern door is rather favorable for the prosecution. Huh? I've got a bad feeling about this. How about it, Director? We don't tell the truth this time. Yikes! His handcuffs! You will become but rust upon my sword. I relish the chance to cut down a great man. All right, I'll tell the truth. Just put your sword away that you don't even have in your possession. You are correct. I, the great Yuri Cosmos, was looking into the room from the southern door. What? That's the complete opposite of all the testimony he's given so far. And now you have lost your possibility that the third person was in the room. I have? How? Oh my god. The director and the detective were near the southern door, meaning the killer couldn't have escaped through there. The western door required print recognition. The corridor beyond was filled with smoke. The only escape route left was the eastern control room door, and the only way to get through there was with Director Cosmos' fingerprints. Ack! In short, there would be no escape for any third person had there been one.
Ah! My third person just disappeared, like in one of Trucy's magic tricks.
But then you have to wonder, why did he lie about it, though? Why? What reasoning was there to lie about the fact that they were in the southern room? Order! Order in the court! Director Cosmos, why did you tell such an outrageous lie? That's what I'm wondering. You were covering for the defendant. Isn't that right? No, he wasn't. Yes, it was all for the love of my men. If I said I was in the eastern control room, it would mean the culprit could have escaped through the southern door. You definitely were not thinking this at all. I don't believe your head to be that capable of thinking that far ahead. It would have meant that there could have been a third person. All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person. What a convoluted lie. Was he really covering for the defendant? Considering the fact that he's the one taking the fucking glory for the Hat 1 miracle and not fucking Starbuck, who literally went up there and fucking survived everything, I doubt he would care about him that much. It looks like we've come to a conclusion that the defense's argument, the possibility of a third person, has crumbled.
No!
It's over. Yikes. The judge is about to hand down his verdict. Think, Phoenix, think. This is the perfect time to try and turn my thinking around. If a third person had no way of escaping the scene, then what if one of the people at the scene was this third person? Wait, what if the whole premise is all wrong? Director Cosmos said that he and Detective Arm rushed to the scene together. What if that premise isn't true? What if one of them reached the scene before the other one? And if that person entered the lounge, then they would be the third person. I don't know who he's implicating there. The defendant is the only one who could have killed the victim and shot at the director. Is he implicating that Arm went in there? No, that can't be it. There doesn't appear to be any room for argument against these claims. I will now render my verdict. Please wait, Your Honor. There is still one possibility. It's either trying to say that Arm went in there first and then shot at Cosmos, because he has the metal thing to prove that he got shot at. But then they said that Detective Arm had a .38 caliber. So then that can't be right either. What is he implying? What is Nick implying? Nick, I'm not on the same page with you, buddy. Catch me up. I was doing so well thinking ahead before you, but now... Oh, this had better be good, Mr. Wright. There is one and only one person who could have escaped from the scene. And that person would be the first person who arrived on the scene. Then, upon entering the boarding lounge, the second person to arrive came via the southern door. That's why the first person fled from the room. using an escape route that was accessible only to them. Man, I'm smooth brain right now. I did not understand anything he just said. Oh, is he saying that Cosmos went left through the control room because he's the only one with the access to it? Who is this one person who could have escaped from the boarding lounge? I'm assuming that's what they're saying. I hope that's what they're implying. I don't... What? Relax! Mr. Wright, what are you claiming here? Of all the people who were at the scene, only the witness could have escaped. The director's the only one with the authority to open the control room door, after all. But that means... Are you saying he got shot at the southern door side and then he ran towards the control room? Like what? Exactly. The true identity of the third person is our current witness. Director Yuri Cosmos. What? What? I'm also in that. I don't know if I can understand this. He needs to bluff his way through it, and I have to help him bluff it, even though I don't believe it. Order! Order on the court, I say! Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself in more detail. I assert that Director Cosmos arrived at the scene before Detective Arm, and entered the boarding lounge alone. Detective Arm arrived after that and saw a suspicious figure, who was actually Director Cosmos standing in the lounge. And that's why she fired those 2 warning shots. Ah! I've been hit! I've been hit on the starboard side!
Captain Wright! It's a direct hit on the enemy ship, sir! A magnificent shot!
Warning shots fired from the enemy ship! Prepare to intercept! Cosmos, you have told a lie in this courtroom once again. I've been hit! I've been hit on the port side! The enemy has called in reinforcements! We're at the Cosmos Control Center, requesting permission to ask you to return reality. Why is Blackwell saying that he's lying? What is he lying about? But my ship will not go down to anything less than the ultimate weapon of evidence! But I do have evidence. In fact, we do? You could say that your battleship bears its scars. If Director Cosmos is the third person that Aurora Blackwell saw. This third person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with her gun. And in return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us. Director Cosmos must have been the one who fired the .10 caliber gun. When Detective Arm discovered him in the lounge, it only makes sense that he would have turned and shot at her. Therefore, right, that would explain why the bullet would have ended up on the south side. Are they implying that the bullet damage on his badge is not necessarily done with the .10 caliber? It could have been done with the .38? Is that the assumption here? Because they made it sound like it was exactly the .10 one because of how small it was, but maybe it's not? The evidence on the director's body is of a different kind of relevance than before. Once we compare it against another piece of evidence, the mark that you received from the third party will be all the proof we need to prove that you were the one in there in the lounge. Brace for further impact! Comparison against this piece of evidence will prove that you were the one in the lounge. Oh shit, I didn't mean to press that button. Was it right though? I was about to bring up the history to remember what he said just now, but I forget my buttons all the time because when you switch from PC to Switch, the .38 caliber bullet found on the floor at the scene didn't hit the oxygen tank. It hit Director Cosmos' metal. If we had that ricochet mark on the metal analyzed, I'm sure the caliber would match up. Okay. His badge looks like a meringue. I don't like meringue. And if that mark proves to be from a .38 caliber bullet, it will prove that you were the third person we've been looking for. Ah! The bridge is destroyed! Losing altitude! All hands abandon ship! If that's true, then what about the bullet that hit the oxygen tank? It was the .10 caliber bullet. In other words, it was the bullet fired by Yuri Cosmos. Isn't that right, Director? Why would he shoot the tank? No! You've got it all wrong! What? The engines have started again? Oh, thank God we're not fucking dying. It's a miracle! I'm not going down yet! Warners, stop this at once and confess the truth. If you don't want the history books to say that a great man was a great liar,
Then accept your fate and tell us the truth. I'm here too.
are you giving me orders? Me, the great director of the Cosmos Space Center! Ah! But the cosmos revolves around me! Ah! Someone get me off the thing! Order! Order report! Will someone please stop the witness from spinning? I don't know, he can stop himself. I would barf on that thing if it was spinning like that. Whew! Thank goodness we were able to stop him from spinning off the face of the earth. While he was twirling, I took the liberty of running an analysis on the mark of the metal. How did you... What? That was quick. It was made by a .38 caliber bullet, matching it with the size of Detective Arm's firearm. Oh my god. Are you ready to confess the truth, witness? No! You've got it all wrong! That's just a misunderstanding!
Is he going to start piling on more lies?
It looks like it. But no matter how many lies he tells, I'll just expose them one by one. I'll make that big liar tell the truth. Okay. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to your favorite channel that isn't mine, alright? Not to insinuate that this is your favorite channel. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to be funny with the fact that, like, don't fucking look at me.